Alright, so I bought a game. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's something for the PS3. That's my best guess. Um, and with every purchase on eBay, I do send a note asking the sellers to pack, to avoid bubble mailers, to pack in a box, due to damage that will happen to it. Pack in a box and whatnot. And sometimes they just ignore it. Sometimes they do put it in a box. Sometimes, very rarely, orders just get canceled. Sometimes they get angry messages like, I know how to pack. Yeah, well, I don't know that you know how to pack. And this is kind of one of those examples where, technically, this is exactly what I asked for, but it really wasn't what I wanted, let's put it that way. Because right here, what we got for a shipping box was a Stouffer's. I don't eat this kind of stuff. I don't know how to pronounce it even. Spaghetti with meatballs. And actually, the reason I don't eat this kind of stuff is because it's got an insane amount of sodium. Like, nobody should be eating that much salt. 1 serving per container, and that's your third of your sodium value in a small meal like that. That's just too much. But anyway, Nestle. But anyway, so the point here is that, like, this is how not to pack. The game appears to be, like, loose on the inside. So the sadness of the situation is that even this is better than a bubble mailer, to be honest with you. But it's comical, but also, like, it's still better than a bubble mailer. However, this is not a proper shipping box. Don't do this. But if, like, your only other option is to cancel the order, which you absolutely don't want to do, or to, I don't know, lose money on it because you really didn't plan the shipping options well, I guess this is better than a bubble mailer. But still, like, this does not scream professionalism. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up and just kind of see what sort of condition. When I receive items packed this way, I just kind of always makes me wonder what condition they were in, because more often than not, there's other issues with it. That the seller did not really, like, disclose well. So let's take a look and see. So basically, this box did get crushed here on the side and on this side. It got hit a few times and this and that, but it was stiff enough to kind of probably take the brunt of the damage. So also got hit on this corner. So let's take a look and see how the game fared on the inside of it. Got a hair sample. It's not the best. Nobody wants. Oh, MotorStorm Apocalypse. Why did I buy Apocalypse? I don't know. Just to have it. So let's see. What do we have here for Apocalypse? We have a slightly peeling here. That happens a lot. Surprisingly enough. I don't see anything on here. The game wasn't all that expensive or anything like that. But I don't see anything on here that would indicate that it was severely abused because of the shipping method. The thing about bubble mailers is it's an envelope and it flattens towards the sides, right? So as soon as you start shoving a game like this into a bubble mailer, it starts putting wear and pressure on the Y-fold corners here, right? Not what any collector wants, really. You want them in the condition that they were. And also with bubble mailers, like, if you picture the space, it's got bubbles, but if you picture the space between the bubbles, it is ultra thin plastic that is no thicker than this wrapping here. It's slightly different plastic, but it's no thicker. So you're basically, in a way, taking a game and putting it into a very thin wrapping and then hoping that everything will be good. So what's good about this? So what's good about this box here? The Stouffer's or Stauffers or whatever the hell, spaghetti with meatballs, is that it actually, creative. You know what I mean? That's creative. You gotta give the seller, 5 stars for creativity. But the big irony of it is that it is still better than the bubble mailer. It would have been preferred, of course, if the game was actually wrapped in a little bit of bubble wrap, in a layer of bubble wrap, just to kind of keep it more secure and from being loose inside of this. But it's smooth paper, and it's not very abrasive, just because it's not like packing paper and whatnot. So there's probably some microscopic scuffing or whatever that occurred somewhere in this game, but because this box is actually of like 3D, rectangular kind of shape, there was no pressure that was put on the corners, and in fact, the corners of the box itself, they're reasonably stiff on the sides here, because it's got kind of 3 triple cardstock here. There's got the one flap and the other long flap and these little flaps, and it actually gave it quite a bit of stiffness. It didn't come completely crushed. It did get crushed, but by the time this impact happens to it, whatever the force that crushed this on the outside, crushed this box on the outside, it had already absorbed the worst of the impact. Versus, bubble mailers, that goes straight to the corner. And I've actually had the artwork damaged in bubble mailers before, because the impact hit it just wrong enough to like hit the plastic, bent the plastic a little bit, and bend the corner of believe it or not, like, it actually happened to a PS2 game. I had to return it to the seller, and she's like, "What? Are you seriously returning?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I did ask you to ship in a box." Jesus Christ. They banned me from the store, and fuck them. You know what I mean? Thank you. I won't buy from them. Again, even accidentally. So it damaged the case. It damaged the cover art, and at that point, it's a disc only game. So it's like, I don't need it. I'm a collector. I don't collect broken, scratched up garbage. Like, when I store games that I have actually opened for use, I'll show you. I store them wrapped in, like, it looks sealed almost, but yeah, no, this is just like kitchen cling wrap, or saran wrap, or whatever, plastic wrap, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's what it is. That's how I store them. It prevents all this micro scuffing from happening to it. And honestly, my used games are the best. They're like brand new. They're like new. I wouldn't have any reservations selling my used games, if I were to sell them, as like new, for this reason. As soon as I open a game, as soon as the factory packing is off, the kitchen wrapping comes on. So, and in this case, I didn't make it super tight or anything like that, but it's kind of a good demonstrator of just how sort of cheap these games have gotten. You know what I mean? Like how these PS4 and maybe and PS5 cases as well have gotten so cheap, they've lost respect. They've lost respect for the physical games. It used to be like, man, you hold it in your hand and it's just so solid. Even with these PS3, this is bendy and cheap-ish compared to PS2, the PS2 era. But compared to the PS4 and the PS5, that's solid. And this is junky. Well, anyway, there we have it. MotorStorm Apocalypse for the PS3, safely delivered to me by a creative sort of a seller using creative packaging in a spaghetti with meatballs meal box. Cannot recommend this for food, but as a box for shipping games, I'm guessing 9 out of 10 times it's going to beat using a bubble mailer. And 1 out of 10 times it's probably going to get crushed so badly it will destroy whatever's inside. So not a recommended method. In this case and most other cases, just based on my imagination of how the physics of transportation works and knowing how thin the space is between the bubbles and the bubble mailers, and having seen the damage from bubble mailers, yeah, the spaghetti with meatball box beats a freaking bubble mailer pretty much every time.